This investigation will continue whether she wins or not, but assuming she wins and the investigation goes forward and it looks like an indictment is pending, at that point in time under the Constitution, the House of Representatives would engage in an impeachment trial. It would go to the Senate, and impeachment proceedings and removal would take place.
That was Homeland Security Chair Mike McCaul on Fox News earlier today, basically predicting and explaining what could happen. It's just a speculation. If Hillary Clinton does, in fact, eventually, we don't even know if it's going to happen, gets indicted by a grand jury over a private email server, that's way down the road, may not even happen. However, my next guest says there is a glaring double standard over Hillary Clinton's perceived mishandling of classified information versus the consequences lower-level enlisted personnel face that they do the same. Name is Kathleen Saucier. Her Navy sailor son just started a one-year sentence in federal prison for leaking classified information. She's with me on the set right now. So he's in prison for 1 year.
Yes.
And you have a one-year-old granddaughter?
I do. My son has an absolutely beautiful wife who stood by him through all of this, and a beautiful one-year-old daughter, yes.
So he was taking selfies on a nuclear sub, and it caught images behind, and he had it on his phone, right? Is that what happened?
So the ones that they brought into the case, he was not in the photo. So it was just pictures of, like, there was an area where there was a treadmill, but these were all in the engine room, which were considered at that time classified. I think it's important to also acknowledge, I know we've talked about it before, but maybe for people that haven't heard the show before, that this happened in 2009 when there was no cell phone ban on submarines. And at that time, many of the young men were taking photos and were reprimanded in ways such as a reduction in rank, a $560 fine. Unfortunately, my son's cell phone went outside of the military area and was brought to the attention of the FBI when they became involved. And so it became a federal civilian case. And so he is presently serving 1 year in federal prison for that.
So it's images on a phone versus the handling of, or perceived mishandling of classified information by Hillary Clinton and her subordinates. How do you explain, what do you think of the double standard?
Well, the double standard is this. So both of them are mishandling classified information. If you read the statutes based on that of the law, so having classified information on an unsecured device. My son had photos, Hillary Clinton had emails, okay? There's no intent required for mishandling classified information. Where it changes is that my son never transmitted. There's no evidence whatsoever, and the judge clearly stated that during his sentencing hearing, that my son ever transmitted any of those photos, whereas an email is transmitted over and over. So here now we have not just the actual thing on a device, but also the transmission of that. And what concerns me is the double standard is that she's not held to the same standard as every other average American patriot. Where my son is in prison, there's others that are in prison. Look at General Cartwright. Look at, General Petraeus.
And we've got, we also have this new WikiLeaks email released today showing the Department of Justice giving a heads up to Clinton campaign chair John Podesta on upcoming email hearings and inside workings at the Department of Justice. Now, I mean, does your family have the same Justice Department connections?
No, absolutely we don't. I mean, I think that's how many average Americans have those connections. And the reality of it is that that shouldn't matter, whether we have connections or not. There's laws in place in our country, and they should be followed by everyone. We should all be held to the same standard.
Now, do you think this is why Hillary's trustworthiness is dropping dramatically? We're seeing that Donald Trump is in the lead with 46% in terms of being more honest than Hillary Clinton. And do you think this is maybe voters are catching on to stories like yours?
Well, I hope so. I'm hoping that the American public are recognizing the fact that this is blatantly out there. You can't hide this. I mean, maybe one or two things happening and then could say, well, maybe it's a publicity thing or, a political thing. But over and over and over, emails, things have been exposed as to her lying. She's changed her story. First two debates, she stated, I made a mistake. So she actually admitted that she made a mistake by having that server in her home, and yet she doesn't have to be held accountable. I don't understand that, and I think there's a lot of American people that are questioning that as well.
Kathleen Saucier, thank you so much for your time. Please come back. And I know there's a Facebook page.
Yes.
You want to say what the name of it is?
Please. Thank you so much. First, I want to say please pray for my family, pray for all of us as we go forward in this fight. And it's not just about Chris, it's about everyone, every American patriot. Our Facebook site is American Patriots Against Double Standards.
American Patriots Against Double Standards. That's the Facebook page. Kathleen, thank you so much. Give our best to your son.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be thinking of you, and thanks for coming on.